I'm a pretty bad kid.
And they gifted Nathan in the stone. Yeah, that's ref the district. Come on now and join us.
Let's go.
And they gifted.
We are
Nathan in the stoner. Yeah, that's ref the district.
That's the podcast.
Come on now and join us.
You join it. Yeah, let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the Wizards. Let's talk about the Nats and how they always got good pictures. Let's talk about the cats on rescue, turn them boys to winners.
Injuries and updates, oh yeah.
To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah.
To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah.
I think it's something you should know, yeah.
And they good with them all-season stats,
That's a fact.
And they can give you the season recap,
Yeah.
You know that's for a fact,
Yeah, it is. And you know we got our team on our back,
To us, no other team can measure.
No.
Cause our team is way better.
We the best one.
Never be under the weather.
Oh, no.
W with the best leather.
Oh, it's the best one.
Hey, we love Washington. And we some die-hard fans.
Yeah, we are.
And you know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about
two,
the offense.
1, 2,
and the
3, let's
defense.
go.
And they gifted.
We are
Nathan and the stoner. Yeah, that's ref the district.
That's the podcast.
Come on now and join us.
You join it.
I'm a pretty bad kid.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Day After Reckoning. It's the preseason game 2, Day After Reckoning. And yes, I'm back from being fired or my suspension or whatever. These two jokers told you. I'm Nathan Perry. We got the Stoner with us. How's it going,
What's up, Nathan? What's up, Trev? Nice to see you guys again.
Yeah. Trevor is again a full-time host here with us on Ref the District and Day After Reckoning. Trevor, how you doing, my man?
I'm great, especially great because my shirt finally came in. My jersey, my uniform is here, so I'm feeling extra good. A little tired though. Yesterday was a long one, but I'm here.
It was something. Yeah, it was a long one even for Stoner and I. We don't live 3 hours away from the stadium. Yeah. So, and you stayed later than us. So I had to pull out a little early because we had the babysitter who messaged us in the middle of the game, and she was just like, "Hey, are you gonna be back by 11?" And so Jazzy looks at me. She's like, "We're gonna be back by 11?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Maybe 11:30." And so I was just like, we're like, okay, we have to be back at 11:30. So I was just like, all right, fourth quarter started. Kyle Allen's coming in. As much as I wanted to watch him, I was just like, I got responsibilities. I got that dad stuff to do.
That's quarterback too.
I think he's going to be QB3. I think that he very likely should be QB2. But then we're going to have the throng of Heineke fans.
Heineke Hive.
We tweeted this out. That Heineke Hive was hopping.
Oh my!
All right, when he came into the game, people just were losing their dang on minds. Yeah. Like it was almost equivalent to when the whole team came out onto the field and people are like, "Woo!" And then Heineke runs out to the huddle and people again were losing their dang on minds.
What were the fans doing when the team came out on the field?
Woo!
Okay, I was just checking.
All right, we're gonna have some fun here. We here on the Day After Reckoning, we're gonna go over today's show at least. We're gonna be going over yesterday's preseason game, and then we have an interview with Tim McTyer. You might recognize that name. His young son was balling out for the Washington football team. The Burgundy and Gold looked pretty good yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Looked pretty good yesterday. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and, it's got to be back to that dollar. We got to see who is up and who is down. I know from the very first time that D-Hop lined up, but I lost I lost a little right then. Lost a little bit right there. So, but we'll keep track of that throughout the season. I love the dollar segment. It's pretty entertaining. We all three were at the game. Mm-hmm. So let's first talk about the game day experience, because this is the first game at FedEx Field in more than a year.
Yeah.
So what was that? For fans, I should specify. For fans, it's been more than a year. So as a fan, what were some of the things that you liked about the stadium experience?
Some of the things I liked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm finished.
Wow.
No, I mean just being back. Sorry, I'm being a little bit harsh, right? As much as we like to talk about what Jason Wright is doing, and he's put a huge emphasis. He even talked about on the broadcast last night when he was in the booth with Kenny and Joe, and he talked about how even if the weather's not great and the game is not going great, it's still important that the fan has a great experience. And I think they were just in preseason mode last night. Everything that went on we had a few issues, if you will, and by themselves, not a big deal. Add them all up, it's kind of a big deal, and it wasn't great. We'll give them a pass. First-time fans have been back there, and like you said, since the end of the 2019 season, the 2019-2020 season. But they've got some work to do to get things to where it's a great fan experience.
Whew.
All right. Did you have a different experience, Trevor, than Stoner did?
Yeah. Yeah. This is also my first year as a season ticket holder, so I got to experience the gold member attributes that they provided. But the field was great. It's a pretty field. Looks like all the seats are brand new. I love the burgundy and gold all throughout the whole stadium. When we scored a touchdown, confetti flew out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Looks like they have more food options and more concessions Like the concession area looks like it's a little bit more filled. But yeah, it's preseason. Some issues with the parking. It's not very good communication with the parking lot.
Right.
No, and that's like one of the biggest complaints Jason said was the parking. Well, they need to really pay attention.
Which is warranted.
Yeah,
which is warranted. It was definitely something that.
Stoner, what is that?
That's my list of issues with this particular game, the game day experience. Now,
hey Jason,
Nathan
Joey,
asked,
we all need the old man glasses to read that one.
Nathan asked what was the positive, so that's why I kind of zipped it a little bit. There's no doubt.
You don't have anything positive about the game day experience?
There's no doubt going to an NFL game and going to see your squad play is a great experience in itself. But what happens when, like Jason said, when the weather's not great and maybe the game's not going great? You want that other stuff to be able to fill in the gaps of your experience and have it be a positive experience. That's all I'm saying. And again, one of these on the list by itself would be okay. You can just kind of blow it off and say that's a thing. But, I've got almost 10 things on here that I was a little bit disappointed with. That's all. And if you want to hear, I'll just list them. I won't give you like a...
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and list them. Get them out.
Oh my God, Jason, if you're listening,
old man glasses.
Position opening on the front of front staff. Listen to this.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
He's got some ideas.
So the parking wasn't. Nobody in the parking lot knew what was going on, and I'm not saying that we had like 1 or 2 people. We had at least 10 people who did not know what was going on with the parking. Every person we talked to didn't know. The bathrooms need some work.
Yes.
Okay? They need some work.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay? The USO that the guy sold us on that was down the way is not there.
There was some miscommunication on that part. I'm not going to blame them for that.
That's part of the game day experience.
Okay.
Sorry, it's part of the game day experience. Going cashless, I'm not a big fan of that. Going cashless. The cost.
I'm a big fan because let me stop the list here to give a little experience.
We're on number 4.
So
Cool.
We're on number 4. So I'm a big fan of going cashless because I was prepared for that because I actually listened to the team when they said that they were going cashless.
Yeah.
Someone in my group did not listen.
Oh.
So he wanted to buy the first round of beers, and he couldn't pay for it because he didn't bring his card in. So I paid, and then this friend of mine gave me $40 for the beer.
Very
and that's
nice.
pretty much how much it cost, by the way. So that's something we need to work on.
That's on the list.
It's fair pricing. And I put that, and this is completely on me. This isn't on my friend at this point forward, right? So I put that $40 in my pocket, and sometime during the game, that $40 left my pocket and ended up in somebody else's hands. So,
on purpose or maybe by accident. I doubt on purpose, though.
I doubt on purpose. I'm pretty sure what happened was it probably got stuck to my phone, and when I pulled out my phone for something, it probably came out of the pocket. Yeah. But unfortunate. And if only my friend would have listened and known that they were gone, they went cashless. But you won't have to worry about that, about losing money at the game. Actual dollar at the game if you just realize that it's cashless. I'm just saying.
All right.
Just saying.
So it was
all right,
cashless.
we're at 4.
And by the way, the guy was hinting that it doesn't necessarily always have to be cashless. I don't know what that.
There was definitely one person who was selling beer out of the little carts that was just like, hey, you could probably get away with giving some people some cash. So
AKA,
there's a side scheme going on.
That was
somewhere.
him saying I need cash. That was
right. The price of beer is outrageous. Okay, and
no disagreement here.
And you can kind of just say. That's the way it is at a sporting event. You go to Nats Park, that's the way it is. You go to anywhere. If you go into the Verizon Center, that's the cost of doing business, right? You kind of know that. But when they charge you $14 for a beer, it should be $14. No, it's $14 plus tax. So now you're paying almost $31. So that's like $15.50. Don't you think that tax should kind of be built into the price of what it costs you and all the profit that you're making? Shouldn't it already be built into that?
I
don't
having
know.
spent time in Europe, I do wish we would get on board with that here in the States. It's like I want the sticker price to be the price when I go to the counter, and I'm like, okay, this was $14 on the shelf. Here's $14. I don't have to do all the math. Let all that be in the price. So I remembered, I spent some time overseas, so it's been a while since I've been to a game, but I remember the beers being like $10. I was expecting, and those are stadium prices, and I know you're going to pay that kind of stuff, but I was prepared for the $10. But yeah, when we picked up those first two beers,
it was $30.82,
and it was like $30 and some change, and I'm just like, holy smokes!
Right.
I was like, all right, well, this is why you tailgate. This is why we're out there early and doing the pregame.
All right, so Trevor, I don't know if you experienced this. We're on number 5, right? Well, the beer that we bought, which is Shock Top, which I like Shock Top. It's a weedy beer. It tasted like water. Yeah. There was no taste to it, and we had 2 of them. Nathan said the same thing. He said also no taste. I don't know if you got that with some of the beer you were drinking.
I had a Stella and a Mick Ultra, and they both tasted like.
Well, what's up with that? And
I don't know. And then another beef with the beer thing. Nathan and I kind of were talking about this after we were walking through whatever. If you're going to have Bud Light, make that the cheapest priced beer, and then go up as the beers go up, and have a little bit of variety. If I'm paying $14 for a Stella, why are you paying $14 for a Bud Light? Like, I'd make the Bud Light $12, or just have some better beer options. So.
And then
I did have a Flying Dog later, which had some flavor. So
I don't know.
Yeah, they had the Flying Dog out there.
I checked the date on it. It wasn't an old beer. I mean, they've had that reputation for selling 5-year-old beer in the stadium before, but this wasn't the case. So I don't know why the beer just wasn't any good. And then, okay, you ready for another one? Where's the draft beer? There was no draft in the entire place.
So Trevor mentioned the food places as having like a little bit more to them. I felt that was the opposite.
Yeah, I didn't see
really.
any.
Everything was shut down. There was nothing there. I don't know how much of that is just the preseason or how much of it is restrictions on things, but I was a little disappointed. I mean, if you didn't want, I know Johnny Rockets was open. We didn't go there, but outside of that, it was you can have a $6 hot dog, unless you're a gold member. In which case, again, I'm going to say this: season ticket holder myself, the gold member status is worth it in that regard, because you get half price concessions. Because you're paying $6 for a hot dog that your kid would kind of turn their nose up to. So, so I mean, there really wasn't many options there for me. But and again with the beer, like why I don't know why we didn't have draft yesterday, or at least more variety. I think the amount of beer we were probably looking at five different beers. That was it.
Yeah, and again, preseason game 1. Maybe by the time the regular season comes around, you're going to have the draft. You're going to have more food options. And then that bar that was right behind you, Trevor, in the end zone, was a really cool bar, and I know that's a new thing as well. But the problem with that was you had this big old long bar. Awesome, right? Well, you had a line to go order, and you had the one bartender. Yeah. Right? It wasn't like when you go up to a bar and you just go up to the bar and you got bartenders coming up and down and getting the orders and serving and all. Nope, it was just like a beer line. You just stand in line and get your beer. It wasn't a bar. It was a line. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Stoner is not a happy camper.
Listen,
right now, so.
No,
wait till I get to the end.
He's tearing them up. I know. Let's move through the list because I do want to actually talk the sports part.
That's true. It's a lot of beer talk.
So, and then you already mentioned the food, so we don't have to do that again. I was a little disappointed in the attendance. That has nothing to do with the game day experience, but the attendance was pretty low.
I think Nikki said she tweeted out it was 38,000 sold.
So there's
paid tickets.
Probably 20,000 season tickets.
Someone had a great response. To that. It was just like, that tells me there's 38,000 season ticket holders.
That's exactly right. And then here's the biggest issue. Not the biggest issue. The biggest kind of now we're getting towards the field, right? When they had the entrance of the team coming out right before the game, and they had those two walls, those smaller walls, and then they had all the smoke that was coming out, right? And then these two walls, one on each side, had 3 jets of smoke on each side.
There's 4, but okay.
I think there's 3.
There's
All
4.
Right. So they were coming, and they petered out halfway through the guys coming out. There was nothing else coming out. They ran out of stuff.
Stoner, really?
Out.
I really want to remind people that Stoner here is the guy who said that the cheerleading squad no longer being in existence is not a big deal because it doesn't have an impact on the game. And now this man is miscounting the jet streams that are coming out for the entrance as if that's a big deal.
So let me
move on, Stoner.
Keep
move
going.
on.
Let me wrap it all up. That's all of them. And I think that was 10. Let me just wrap it all up.
That was seriously one of yours. Goodness gracious.
When you go to a game and you're watching the game, after all that other stuff, none of that matters. But when you get to watch the game, if you've got a good product on the field, I don't give a crap about all that other stuff.
He
But
says that now.
yeah, I don't. If they go 13-3 and they go 7-1 at home, well, who cares about all that other stuff? I'm there and I'm watching and I'm happy. But when you have the team on the field that they've had for the last 20 years, that stuff matters.
It does matter.
Less people there.
I forgot to mention that we stream live on our YouTube and you're able to interact with us. And we got Mama Stores in the chat. Hi, Mama Stores.
Oh, no.
She says, Stoner, you need a nap.
Right.
And he does. He really does. She's absolutely right. We also got Roger in the chat. Roger, thank you for joining us today. So you can catch us streaming these live the day after Reckoning. The day after the game at 7 p.m. we'll be live and giving you your thoughts on the game mostly. We did talk... We did talk a little bit about the fan experience just a moment ago, and Stoner needs a nap. I agree with Mama Stores here. Let's get to the game.
Yes.
You're talking about the product on the field. How was the product on the field? The starters played for a little over a quarter. Some of them a little bit longer than others, and we saw some surprise people sitting, and we saw some surprises with the ones.
Yeah.
So what was your feeling on just the one? So we'll get to the Heineke Hive and the other players later. But how do you think the ones handled themselves?
Not like they did in the first preseason game against the Patriots. Ryan Fitzpatrick took a sack this time. He overthrew Adam Humphries in the end zone, missed Logan Thomas. He was missing a little bit more than we probably wanted, but that's okay. It's like, it's brand new receiving core. He's got to build a rapport and trust with him, but he is Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Adam Humphries has played with him before, so you think that connection should just be there, but can't be perfect. So I just thought it was a little stagnant. We didn't put the ball in the end zone until later. So
what about the defense? What about the ones on defense?
Oh, ones on defense, we're fine. We're fine. They looked a lot better. Jamin Davis looked a lot better. For those who have heard about my opinion on that, I will agree. He looked a lot better. He's going to be just fine. I overreacted. I'll admit it right now. I overreacted.
Right.
There it is.
Until the first time he misses an assignment in the season, and then and Trevor's going to go off just like Stoner just went off on the fan experience.
Yeah, and then for the surprise was Torry McTyer running with the ones and holding his own out there. I mean,
he was
causing the quarterback to not put the ball where it needs to be. He didn't have any interceptions or like anything, but just his coverage was enough, and that's all you can ask out of a cornerback. I think he did great. I think his stock is rising towards the 53 mark. So,
I believe the Cincinnati had 2 first downs in the first half, and that's it.
And they got a false start too. That was nice.
I don't necessarily think it was all Washington defense either, because let's go back to last year when in the regular season when we played Cincinnati and Joe Burrow before he got hurt. He was killing this defense. And it was all because he was He was getting the ball, and he was gone, and he was going, and he was going. And that's what Brandon Allen was doing in this game, too. He was getting the ball, and he was getting it out, and he was getting it out. They couldn't run on us at all, so that was great. But they were doing that as well, and the receivers were just dropping the ball all over the place. Yeah. They were open, and if they had caught it, it would have been a totally...
Jamar Chase at least had 3 drops.
It would have been a totally different first half if they had made those catches. And we would have been telling a completely different story about this defense. So they did definitely stop the run. They did break up some of those passes, especially, in the end zones.
The people's corner, Jimmy Moreland had a great pass breakup.
So it was a mix of that. So I didn't think the defense was great, but I didn't think they were bad either. They were better than good. So I'd say
Roger in our chat has expressed a couple times his concern is really that the defense won't be able to continue a high level of play because the offense is going to struggle.
Yeah.
And Scott Turner's propensity to throw the ball more often than eating up the clock is going to put the defense in a bind late in games. Do you guys share that sentiment?
Not necessarily, because in the preseason they don't show a lot. They're doing a lot of vanilla type plays. They're not having 2 backs. They don't want to get anything on tape that the other teams are going to be able to study. So they're doing a lot of vanilla plays. Antonio Gibson is going to be an absolute monster this year. He's going to be out there for all 3 downs or whatever. He was killing it yesterday. He was running the ball. He was getting screens. He was getting the check down. Antonio Gibson was awesome yesterday, and he's going to be awesome.
He looked good
the rest of the year. So I don't worry about that in the regular season until you have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Fitzpatrick did look off, Trevor. You're absolutely right there. I would say, though, one of the things that was interesting, I think maybe it was J.P. Finley had tweeted this one out, but it was 98 yards in a quarter of action. So, that's looking like, if he can replicate that, that's almost 400 yards in a game. That should, get you there. I agree, though, Trevor. There was definitely a couple things he looked off. There was one, you mentioned that connection with Humphreys. Humphreys went left and Fitz threw the ball right, and we were very lucky not to have that one picked off.
Yes, that one was. And of course, you had everybody going, "Oh, see, there it is. That's what we're talking about. Put Heineke." And it's like Heineke would have just went there on purpose, because he doesn't throw to his left.
You brought up Heineke. Let's move on to some of the non-starters. The Heineke Hive, and Jesse over at Bleeding Burgundy, he got himself in some heat on Twitter today by bringing up how Heineke is solidifying why he's a backup quarterback, and I added to it as they were starting giving out grades. I was just like, I give Heineke a B, as in backup quarterback,
right?
And he is. I talked with George. We got to meet George as
George
well.
Carmy.
George Carmy. And we talked about this. I don't want every play to seem like it's broken up, and that's what it feels like with Heineke.
Yes.
Every time he's back there, he scrambles too early and he bails, and people enjoy it because sometimes it's productive, right? He ran for several first downs, and that's exciting. But the problem is one, you can't rely on it. I'm really happy that he's being smart with his body and he's getting out of bounds, or he's sliding. That's great. But not every play needs to end with him scrambling. It really needs to be able to stand in the pocket and deliver the ball to the wide receivers and let them do the job. There's a couple times where he really should have strung it out and then just thrown the ball away.
Yeah,
and he didn't do that.
He's not letting the play
there was the one time where he tried to communicate that. I think it might have been Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yeah,
where he was just like, "No, you go and I'll throw you the ball," and Ricky didn't get that memo, and so it ended up looking really bad. Ricky Seals-Jones, I know you guys love him, but I would be okay if he was tight end 4, and my boy Samus Reyes, who did not play, was tight end 3, but. We'll see. Hopefully, he'll be out of concussion protocol. We'll see.
I like when Trevor doesn't understand what you're saying, or doesn't agree, and he does the.
He's like, come on.
That makes me laugh every time.
Heineke, just like you said, just shake the tackle, step up in the pocket, and deliver. You don't have to run, because you did that in Tampa Bay and messed up your whole, like, your AC, whatever, your shoulder, whatever. Like, you're gonna run, and if you're showing that in preseason, the regular season, everybody knows they've already got you figured out. Like, oh, he's just gonna run. He's
essentially a fifth-year pro. This is who he is. You can see that a lot with someone who's straight out of college, because as they're trying to develop their game, and they have that, and to be fair, and I just tweeted out the relative athletic score, which I love. I love seeing that. I think it's a legit stat. However, this particular one was comparing Heineke to Mahomes.
Oh my
I was just
God.
like, come on. I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it, okay?
No.
Like, as far as, like, okay, I get it. Heineke is an athletic youngish guy. But come on, let's not get carried away here.
And he was carrying the ball like a loaf of bread and fumbled it, and we almost lost it. You can't do that. Like, that's just stuff you should learn, like, day 1 through 15. Like,
yeah, I agree. I'm not a Heineke Hive member, whatever they call themselves, a Hivette or whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called.
A Heineke Hornet.
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go. Nice. I'm not one of those guys. I think he's perfectly fine as a backup. He can come in a pinch, get you through a game, maybe even a second game. But once a team gets tape on him, they're going to shut him down with the quickness. So
And he looks
even though
good
I'm not
because Go ahead.
I was just saying, even though I'm not a Fitzpatrick guy either, Fitzpatrick is still better than Heineke.
Yeah.
Heads and shoulders above him.
And when Heineke's doing all this scrambling right now, it's against third and fourth team defenses. You mean to tell me he gets out there in the regular season against all the A1 players, he's going to be able to do that? No, they're going to catch him.
All right. Well, someone did get some time with the ones, which was a little surprising to see, and to me, looked head and shoulders above his competition, and that's Jarrett Patterson.
Yes, sir.
What'd you guys think of the undrafted free agent out of Buffalo?
He is taking Peyton Barber's spot.
Hey, Trevor, I'm gonna pull a Trevor. He is not taking Peyton Barber's spot. And here's why. Trevor. Now, I was super, super impressed seeing him in person, and the highlights, of course. His lateral movement is unmatched on this team. Mm-hmm. I mean, even Gibson can't make those types of moves. He has a knack for getting through the line. He's very good, and I even think he might make the 53, but not in place of Peyton Barber. Peyton Barber plays on the punt team. He plays on the kick team. He plays on the kick return team. He plays all three of those special teams positions. And you can't just all of a sudden say, okay, let's take Patterson and put him in the spots where a veteran guy who does all of these things has been doing them for the last 2 years, and the coaches trust him to do these things. They're not just going to say, okay, get rid of that guy and bring in this rookie and have him do everything that Barber did. Barber's value is not as the third running back. His value is he can be a third running back, but he also does all these things on special teams. They're not cutting Peyton Barber. They're not.
So
what do you think? Real quick, Trevor. Okay. What do you think if they do keep 4 running backs?
Yeah.
Cut Danny Johnson, let McTyer be that 5th corner instead. Do you think that's a possibility?
Now for sure. I'll take that.
It's a possibility.
Because Roger thinks that might be something that happens.
I could take that. But if Peyton Barber's so valuable in special teams, can't we find somebody else just as valuable and fill his role in special teams?
Well, they haven't. If Peyton Barber's so bad, he wouldn't be in camp. He wouldn't be here all this time. They wouldn't have brought him back after last year when he did almost nothing as a running back. He came back on this team.
He's been doing this year.
Right. But he's back on this team because he's valuable in special teams. That's hard to replace. You need guys who can fill 2 roles when they're not the number one guy.
Stoner's favorite thing about Trevor is when he comes up into the camera. My favorite is visually. If you happen to be listening to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform, we love you. Thank you for doing that. But the visuals sometimes are cracking me up. And so Trevor does this thing where he raises his hand like, okay, it's my turn to speak, guys. I have something to say. So let's hear it.
We'll make Jarrett Patterson running back 3 and Peyton Barber running back 4 and just mainly use them on special teams. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. So when I say he's taking a spot, Peyton Barber was that guy last year if you needed 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. I think Jarrett Patterson might take a spot in that role.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can deal with that. I just can't deal with he's taking his roster spot. I don't think that's happening. And Roger
just taking a spot on the field.
Yeah, Roger says in the chat there that Peyton Barber is a jag, and I agree. He is
decidedly mediocre.
He's just another guy, but he does these other things as well that coaches love and they need on this team, on every team.
Yeah, no disagreement there. I do think the writing is on the wall. Like it's being telegraphed by the coaching staff. Peyton Barber wasn't in with the ones, at least not until very late. I think maybe he got a few reps later on. It was actually they were trying Gibson on those short yardage short yardage downs. They were working in Jarrett Patterson with the ones on several of the early downs, and then even some of the third downs were his passing situations. So J.D. McKissick is somebody who we haven't really seen much out of. He did get a lot more playing time this last game here, and really he's a known quantity. He doesn't really need to do too much, and we know where he's at.
Hey, bold.
And I think he could be that guy who takes Peyton Barber's spot on special teams.
Bold prediction.
Ooh. Okay.
Maybe Patterson makes the squad and McKissick doesn't. I'm just saying because they're specialized.
Nah.
Right?
No.
McKissick doesn't play.
The reason why that's not going to happen.
No.
The reason why that's not going to happen is because J.D. McKissick is way better in the pass blocking realm, and that's why. And so to me, pass blocking is above special teams play. So we'll see where that battle ends up. Any other battles that you guys were really interested in seeing? Roger says the tight ends we might keep 4. I don't know about that because the tight ends aren't that impressive. After Logan Thomas, I wanted to see more of Bates. I didn't really see some of that. Ricky Seals-Jones is not somebody I'm a fan of. I know you guys love them.
Yeah.
Love him. We know Hemingway didn't get to play. Reyes didn't get to play, both in the concussion protocol. Who was that guy they brought up?
Caleb Wilson.
Wilson. Did we see him? Did he get?
I saw him on the sidelines. I was like, "Who's this guy?"
Right out the tunnel.
Yeah. He's not making the team. So what other positions are you guys looking at that you might think were solidified here in the second preseason game?
I'm going to say wide receiver, I think, is getting closer to being solidified. Steven Sims is not making the squad. Sorry.
Did himself no favors.
Zero favors. Dropped one right in the brick, like right here.
Oh, did he? Did I miss that?
Yeah,
I missed that
you saw it. No, you saw it.
No, I think we might have been driving at that point because I actually don't think I don't think he saw play until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's right. He was with the fourth, so maybe you guys didn't see it. He dropped.
Yeah, we were on the road during the fourth quarter, so we have to go back and watch the tape. But that was I got home. And I'm looking at my phone, and it's like everything. Steve Sims Jr. just got himself cut. I was just like, he had to drop a ball or miss a assignment.
He didn't see any time until the fours came out.
And we saw that with Kelvin Harmon the week before, where he didn't get very much playing time, and then was just like, okay, we figured out where you belong on this roster, and it's underneath this cut line.
AGG has shown improvement. I'm not sold on him, but he showed just a little bit. Okay, you're right, Stoner. The only reason why is because his catches were a little cleaner. Like, he caught the ball a little cleaner.
Well, okay, so here's the thing about these receivers, these 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th receivers, right? It's so hard for them. They have almost no control over how they look to the fans. Last week, everyone was killing AGG, saying he did nothing. I never saw him. Yeah. Well, why didn't they throw him the ball? Well, this week they threw him the ball, so it's like, okay, he just locked up a roster spot. Because
I didn't say that.
Well, okay, but a lot of people did to say, see, he's doing what he needs to do.
He definitely improved his stock.
Sure.
And you're right, Stoner. You're right. It was because he was actually included in the offense this time. And my man finally got his 2-point conversion and held on to that ball again all the way to the sidelines. What was that movie? Was it like Mr. 3000? Where the guy had like the ball, every single one of his hits on the.
Did he really? He had 3,000 baseballs?
Yes, it was a movie. It was a movie, but I think AGG is going to do this. Anytime he touches the end zone, regardless 2-point conversion or a touchdown, he's going to hold on to that ball and he's going to like have a wall of.
He's going to have.
He might not need a very large wall, but
the world's smallest wall.
I don't know. To be fair, Gandy Golden could actually be giving those out for a good cause. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to tease him too much for it. He held 2 balls. I don't know what he did with the first one because it wasn't a 2-point conversion. But at least the second one was. So I agree, Trevor. I think that I don't know that his stock went up enough to guarantee a roster spot. But he at least did enough that it was just like, okay, the fans can get off his back.
Right. But again, he just doesn't have much control of that, and that's why every day in all the practice stuff that he does is so important that the coaches can see that. Because in the game, it's hard. Because if the quarterback, the third-string quarterback, the fourth-string quarterback is not throwing the ball his way, what can he do about that? Running back has control. Linemen have control. Tight ends have a little bit more control because they are expected to block. Everybody else has more control over the destiny, but man, wide receivers, they have.
It's very dependent. It's dependent on the plays being called, on who's throwing the ball.
Game situation.
That's where they have. That's really where you have to make your name known in special teams, is to kind of work your way into the offense that way, or the defense. Roger thinks that Forrest might be able to take Peyton Barber's spot on the special teams. I don't know, because I don't think that I don't think Forrest is that much better, or that like they might be on par with Peyton Barber. Peyton Barber might actually be more important on the offense than Forrest is for the defense, because Forrest does not look good.
Forrest is it's gonna be hard for him to take that spot from the practice squad, because Forrest is not making the squad. He's not making the squad, which is no knock against him. He's a 6th rounder, so you don't really expect. Usually, you don't expect 6 rounders to just all of a sudden come in. It happens once in a while, but he's probably going to be on the practice squad, if not an outright cut.
I want to piggyback on the tight end thing that Roger brought up. I mean, our tight end room, it has to be Bates, Seals-Jones, and Thomas, right? Because concussions, even though it's an accident, they kind of hurt your stock when it's coming to make a squad. And Sammis Reyes, I like him. He's going to be good, but I really don't think he needs to be inserted on the 53 as a tight end 3 right now. Keep him on the practice squad. Do whatever you can to keep him and develop him, so maybe later on he can slide in to be tight end 3 if needed. And Hemingway, same thing with concussions, because I just don't see how either one of those can make it.
Yeah, Hemingway's not making it.
Play, so I just think we have our tight end in Seals-Jones. Sorry, Nathan, but...
No, you don't have to apologize. I'm not. I don't dog Seals-Jones as much as my wife dogs Logan Thomas.
Oh my gosh!
She gets into him. But what we do, what I do have to say is, you're right. Reyes is more than likely going to hit that practice squad. I know a lot of fans are worried about that, but here's the thing: if Washington puts him on the practice squad, some team has to sign a guy who never played football in his life to their 53-man roster and teach him a whole new scheme.
Judging off of his videos from us, so
yeah. So we're gonna hear a little bit about that in the interview we're gonna play here in just a moment about learning the language. As we drop away from the game coverage into our interview with Tim McTyer here on Ref the Dish. All right, game on, and I'm happy to introduce our guest today, and that is the one, the only former NFL player, former DC and DB coach. It is Tim McTyer. As Washington fans, you might recognize that last name because his son is balling out this preseason for the Washington football team. And we have Tim McTyer here with us. Thank you for joining Ref the District and taking the time to talk to us about yourself. And we'll talk a little bit about Torry a little bit later. But right now we want to put the spotlight on you. So thank you for joining us. You know, what's going on really with you these days?
I'm just in the coaching transition, man, being a dad and a granddad and just watching my son and my grandson, waiting on things to fall into place.
Good. Awesome. All right. Let's start off some questions here. I believe Trevor is going to have our first one for you.
What's up, Tim? Got a couple. It's a two-part question here for you. We discussed before the interview today about your NFL history and your playing career. I'm just wondering, after your shoulder injury in 99-2000, what made you stop, coming back to NFL to return for another season and go into coaching?
Well, they told me my shoulder was kind of messed up more than it was. So pretty much they told me I couldn't play again. Therefore, he had no choice and led me into coaching. Torry started playing, and I started coaching when Torry started playing young. So that's what led me into coaching. All right.
And then my second part is, what do you love most about the game of football? Is it playing? Is it coaching? What is it?
It definitely was playing, but when you can't play, it's more about seeing the production that you're able to teach someone else and for them to get it. Outside of that, it's really being a competitor as a coach, using your players to kind of get a point across schematically, whether you're aggressive, you want to hit people. I can't hit people no more. So I use my players, as chest palms.
Right. Okay.
What do you miss most about playing?
I think I missed the aggression. For me, and in the era I was in, just having the biggest chip on my shoulder and being such a competitor, I just miss competing and I love hitting people. So I miss that. And you can't prove yourself as a player, especially if you're undrafted and you have so many chips on your shoulders. I had so many chips on my shoulder that there was always a reason I was upset or mad, wanted to prove something. So you can't do that. I think I'm there as a coach. I still have that mentality now as a coach that I want to prove that, yes, I can coach. Yes, I do know what I'm talking about. Yes, I am capable of doing this, that, and the other. But, just as far as being a competitor and competing against guys that were either selected higher than you or was told were better, faster, stronger, bigger, I missed that part.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a little bit about that aspect. Is you were not a guy who necessarily was a first round pick or somebody who ever had a lot of expectations coming out of college. And so you had to grind your way into the NFL. What was that process like where you had to figure out how to get into the NFL and it wasn't given to you?
Like I said, man, it was just a mindset, the 90s, late 96, 97. It was just a different era as far as what you can do and what you couldn't do. We can actually help people. So I think that was the gift that I had, being undersized or labeled slow. I was just pretty much an athlete and just able to contribute more in different ways. I was a hitter again, so I brought something to the table. That's what I was good at. Also playing corner at BYU, playing safety. I was able to play multiple positions in the secondary. So, on top of that, and playing a lot of special teams, there was something I can contribute. So therefore, in today's game, I don't know if I would make it, considering you can't hit nobody. I could cover, but without the special teams, kickoff, I just don't know where I would have fit in or if I would have had that opportunity to show what I can bring to the table.
Well, I don't think if you were playing today, even at your age, you'd probably still be hitting people and putting them on the ground, putting them on their back pretty quick. I know I wouldn't want to play it against him.
I will be
No,
losing
thank
a
you.
lot of money with missing games.
Be on the suspended list quite a bit there. So I think we can appreciate some big hits, especially as Washington fans. We definitely Sean Taylor jersey behind me there. We love our big hits. How much of your game do you think you were able to translate to your son, Torry, who's now playing for Washington?
Well, when he was young, he was definitely more me. He was a mean Pop Warner player, and he was free safety. As he started to get into his transition of offense and being an athlete, he kind of calmed down a little bit. Once he went to high school, I stopped coaching him at high school, and his whistle coach, put it that way. So he had different coaches and different mindsets or different, sets in. And I think more so we're both mental now that, I understand the game. I didn't understand the game when I was playing. So now I'm really trying to transfer that. And I do transfer that to the players that I mentor or coach. I think we both have similar mindsets in some form of fashion.
So we can definitely tell that you're a very proud papa. You retweet anything that people say about Torry while he's on the field, and so what is probably your proudest moment for both yourself and watching your son play here in the NFL?
Myself, I don't know. That's a loaded question as far as myself.
You can let it out. You can let it out.
It's a safe space.
Unleash.
It just depends on where you're talking about as far as my life of being proud. Definitely proud to be his dad. Definitely proud that I was able to set a standard that he followed in. I'm definitely proud that we're whatever number that is of son and dad tandem that played in the NFL and college. I'm definitely proud that we're both DBs and we're able to have certain type of conversations. He's starting to get to a point to where he kind of, he looks a little older than me in the face, and I can't grow the hair that he grows. I'm proud of him as a man. I'm proud that he's still fighting in year 5 as an undrafted free agent, and that he hasn't given up yet. I know there's a lot of times where, my rookie year, I wanted to give up. But I know guys go through that moment where, guys are retiring at halftime and, different, mentalities and mindsets. I'm proud that he's still sticking to it. And,
Good. I think that he's doing more than just fighting for it. We think that he might have a legit shot at making the 53-man roster. And we'd be very proud to see him do well with you, and watching the stands. Maybe you're going to come. Do you think you're going to be coming to any of the Washington games if he makes it?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do that. Just never telling where.
I got a ticket.
Like I said, I hope tickets would be a problem, but
no, they won't. But just in case they are, I got you, Tim.
I got you. I appreciate that, but if he makes the team and everything, I hope to get down there. But like I said, there's no telling what my path is going to be. I'm still waiting on some things. Do have some things in the works. Just can't really announce them yet. But definitely, man, I would love to go to Washington and watch.
Yeah, we were all three actually out there last night, and when I saw he was in there with the ones, I was like, McTyer in with the ones? Let's go! And he proved he belonged to be with the ones. So he's very, very, he's flying under the radar, which is really good. And he's just steady ascending. So it's really nice to see.
Our paths and certain things were similar. When I went to Cleveland, I was drafted in the 11th pick. And when I got to camp, I was like dead last on the depth chart. And by game 1, starting. So we've been through similar paths and always flying under the radar and having to prove ourselves. And I think that's any plight as a undrafted guy. There's a list of things that we have to do, regardless of whether he's my son or not. Once you're undrafted, this is what you have to do. There's a scripture or, just the whole list of things that you have to do and accomplish. And part of that is doing something good to be noticed, to move up the chart. And again, for me, that was hitting and being in the right places and being able to go out to corner and then go back to safety and then go to nickel. I don't know how I did it, but I mean, just as far as the terminology and different things, for me, that was the hard part of football. Everybody can play football that's playing football. The hardest part is learning the language. The language is the hardest part of football.
Hey, Tim, why BYU? Why did you end up at BYU?
Oh, really? Okay, a couple of reasons. Purdue was too far. That's one. I saw the TV schedule.
So they're on TV a lot?
All the time.
Right.
I knew as a Black man going to BYU, being successful coming out of there, it would do something to my name a little bit. It was close to LA as far as airplane travel, about an hour away. And if, depending on how your mindset, I left there at 3 and I got back to LA at 3. So, it didn't really.
You didn't lose any time.
Lose any time. And then, like I said, I knew, I think before I got there were some guys that got kicked out before I got there. So I kind of knew I would have stepped right in a little bit. So it was real strategic. And I was really trying to get away from LA at the time. We were just coming off the Rodney King stuff and all of that. And I was really tired of being in that environment. And when I took my trip to Provo, it was totally different. I've never seen that in my life. Just as far as the peace, coming from LA, man, I've just never seen that type of peaceful environment, and I liked it. And when I went to Purdue, it kind of showed me a LA environment that I didn't like, just as far as where my host took me and where I was dropped off at. And I just didn't like it. It was too close to home. And the first thing I would think about is trouble. Like, I can't do it. I'm too far away. And that was my first time ever flying, was going on my Purdue trip. And I didn't get a straight through flight, to be honest with you. I had to have you on the layover. I didn't know how to connect flights or none of that. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
So once I met the BYU people, man, and everything was good, man. I was interested in that whole environment.
Yeah.
Well, throughout college and throughout the NFL, your NFL days, you had to travel quite a bit. Which was your favorite place that you played at?
Ooh.
I like
You better not
Wisconsin.
say Philly.
I mean, as far as on the road, I like Wisconsin. I don't know. I like that environment. I like they actually let us eat a little bit once we got out of there. But I mean, everybody didn't like the vet. I love the vet, man. I like the vet. I don't know if it was just the carpet. I don't, I like the vet. I like the environment. That was the first place I think I smelled marijuana in the stands. I'm like, oh, it's going down. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Down at the bottom somewhere. So I like the vet. There was a couple other different places. I like going to Baltimore. I did like going to Washington. I played there a couple times. That was interesting games, the Washington games.
All right. Well, Tim, we want to thank you for your time and appreciate you joining us here on Ref the District. And you mentioned earlier that you're kind of in a transition period. Well, just like we're going to be following your son, Torry, we're going to be following you and see what successful things you have going forward. So thank you from all of us here at Ref the District for joining us.
All right, man. I'm official right now. I'm officially a Washington football fan. So I want to say go Torry, good luck, and finish strong, bro. Love you.
All right. Thank you, Tim, for joining us. Was an awesome interview. Happy to have him on the show. And I want to give a big shout out to our man Trevor, who was the one who started engaging with Tim to get him on the show. His son looks good. His son looks like is going to have a legit shot at making the roster. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that plays out. Right now, though, we need to see how Dalla played out.
Dalla.
Honestly, after the field goal that D-Hop made, I kind of stopped keeping track of where my money was going to go.
He missed two before that in the warm-ups. He missed two in a row.
Did he really?
Oh, he totally bonked one right off the uprights, and I was just like, yeah, this is going to be an easy dollar.
This is my new damn it doll. I got it in this care package, so I don't, whatever. It's just something that you can throw around the room if needed. Like maybe I can put like a sticker on here of the guy who blows the game for us, like a D-Hop. I could put D-Hop on here and just start smashing it or something like that. If it's D-Hop.
Okay.
I'm not a D-Hop hater either. D-Hop's gonna be fun. But anyway, let's get to Dalla, right?
Yeah, I have no clue where that came from, Trevor.
Because I had it hanging up here, and I was like, oh, yeah, my damn it doll. All right, so Dalla.
Uh-oh, Trevor, man. Unplug your mic and plug it back in for us, buddy.
Okay.
Hit mute first. Oh, cool. So now
he can't retort on our
lie,
dollars,
and he can't say no, that's not what I said. All right, so our first one was I made a bold prediction that Terry McLaurin was going to score a touchdown, and I really didn't think he was going to, but it was kind of one of those bold things that I would be getting good money because I knew everybody would take it, and sure enough, everybody took it. And so I owe Trev and Nathan and Jazzy, our executive producer / event. What's the EP squared? It's executive producer and what? What was the other one?
Logan
She's the event coordinator. Yeah.
No, what was that? What was the other?
LTH. Logan Thomas Hater.
Okay.
That's
all right. So I owe everybody that. Trevor said Kyle Allen was going to have 1+ touchdowns and no picks. I don't even know how that turned out.
He did not score a touchdown.
He just threw the 2-pointer.
2-point curve, yeah.
That's not a touchdown.
Doesn't count.
All right, so we lost that to both me and Nathan.
Trevor, that doesn't count. That does not even come close.
It counts because it's a part of a touchdown.
Touchdown.
No, that's not how that works.
Did we get 6 points for it?
Works. We're going back to the first dollar. We're like, wait, does that mean I get 50 cents? No, you do not get 33 cents because it's 2 points to the 6 points being scored. No, you lose that dollar.
Event planner. She's the vice president.
The event planner. That's right.
That's what the other EP part was.
EP.
All right, so then you got D-Hop with the no field goals is what Nathan said. He actually kicked 3. So
yeah,
good.
I didn't take that.
I said I was happy for him. Like I want to see him be successful. I just didn't think. I thought he was only going to have the opportunity to miss like a 45, and then the rest of it was just going to be extra points. I really thought the offense was going to click a little bit more and score touchdowns.
Okay. For his advantage, he was kicking field goals 40 yards or less this game. So
they're like 31, 31, and 34. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Then we had the score predictions. A little bit controversial here on who's gonna win this.
Yeah, I think these are separate from dollar as much as it's just kind of like we might have a running tally like through the season on kind of like a game prediction type deal.
So Trevor had it 23-6 Washington football team. That's not bad. I had it 23-6 Cincinnati. My thing,
which is way off,
is kind of whatever Trevor says. I take the exact opposite. It worked for me last week. Jazzy had it 21-6 Washington football team. That's really close. Nathan had it 34-21 Cincinnati. I don't know where he's always got these big points scored by
there's
guys
no
who
defense at all.
Fourth stringers.
Yeah, I thought they were just gonna gun it out there. I thought it was gonna be big time score.
Now here's
have some fun.
Yeah, here's the thing. Roger was in our chat at that time. He said 21-13, which is the closest score, but we don't know which team he said. We don't know if it was Washington or Cincy. So that's the controversy. I don't know if he wins it.
I think I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to think that he picked Washington, unless he wants to tell us otherwise in the chat. There.
Otherwise, Jazzy would be the closest score to it. God. So we're going to have to hear that for a whole week.
Can we just bring up another dollar bet that happened that was not on the board that we discussed during the tailgating? Do you remember your dollar bet that we said?
Oh, but this is a dollar for the whole year.
Yeah, this is a year one. This is let's put this on tape. Yeah, Roger says Washington. So Roger, not Jazzy, wins the
All right, so the dollar bet hear it. For the whole year is I said. Now I may have been maybe slightly.
You had a few in me.
But I said Logan Thomas was going to catch 90 balls this year. Now, Nathan, who also had a few at that time, for whatever reason, took the number down, and he said,
I gave him a freebie.
He gave me a free 5 catches.
I gave him 5 free.
Yeah, so I do believe that Logan Thomas, if he stays healthy, is going to catch at least 85 balls this year, and we have a dollar bet on that. For sure he's going to. He had 72 last year.
I love how you're so certain.
72 last year.
I love how you're so certain.
With absolute trash at the quarterback position. Now he's got competent quarterback. I didn't say good quarterback. He's got a competent quarterback.
He also has competition for the ball. It's last year. You got to think. Okay, it went Terry McLaurin, J.D. McKissick, and then Logan Thomas.
And still got 72.
Yeah, because he was the third best option for the team. Now you have McLaurin, you have Curtis Samuel, you have De'Ami Brown, you have Humphrey, still J.D. McKissick and Gibson. You have he's not going to catch 85. He's sure as heck not going to catch the 90 you originally came out with. By the way, Trevor was with me.
I stood up out of my chair when he said 90. I was like,
there goes your mic again, Trev.
So we'll keep you updated. We need that one on our Twitter account. So if you enjoy our show here on Ref the District's YouTube channel, please subscribe. We're at just over 217. If we get to, let's make it 500, we're going to do another special episode. All right. So help us get to 500, and we'll do something fun for you. If you don't catch us on our YouTube channel, maybe you're catching us on our your favorite podcast platform. We are out there, whether or not it's Apple, whether or not it's Spotify, Google, wherever you can find your podcast, you will find us. And of course, you can hit us up on our Twitter at Ref the District, where we put out all of our crazy thoughts. And we're going to have to put in here, as Stoner raises his hand, we're going to have to put in here this $85 dollar bet. I want to see where our fans think. And if you're in the chat right now, as I wait for his hand to be put down, and then I'll call on him, let us know what you think about Logan Thomas catching 85 passes this season. By the way, he caught 72 last season on a 55% catch rate.
Right. So
his
hands
Stoner.
are better, and he's got better quarterbacks, and he's got another game, an additional game, to get 13 extra catches. It's going to happen. No, I thought you were wrapping up, and I just wanted to thank all those who came in the chat, which was Roger Smith, who's there every week. It's awesome having Roger in the chat. Mama Stores was in there. And of course we had
Mama Stores. I didn't see this one from Mama Stores. She said, "Stoner, what the hell? You into voodoo now?" When you showed that damn it doll, like,
hey, listen, if she keeps talking, you know what I'm going to put across here? I'm going to put Mama Stores.
You better not mess with Mama Stores. You better not mess with Mama Stores.
I won't do that. And then of course Jorge and Ramon from Mexico who checked in, and then we also had Eric Rivas. Eric, I hope I'm saying that last name, Rivas, from Florida, checking in. A big Washington fan, said he's been a big fan, Washington fan, all the way back to the 80s. So I just want to make sure that they got acknowledged. Appreciate them coming in and interacting with us. That was awesome. And my last point, if I may, I know I'm running my mouth too much. Sorry.
Is this like number 12 on his list?
Here's a bold
so.
prediction.
Yeah,
Sammis Reyes does not have a concussion. They're saying he has a concussion so that they can stash him so that he doesn't get exposed to the other NFL teams. So they're giving him the injury deal.
Illegal, right? You do know that
it's 100% illegal.
That is the worst take. Why are we ending with this trash take? All right, but we are going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I'm Nathan Perry. He's the Stoner, and Trevor Storr is with us here on Ref the District's Day After Reckoning. We'll catch you next time on Thursday. Until then, be a fan.
Be a fan.
I'm a pretty bad kid.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. And you know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about the offense. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
And they gifted.
We are
Nathan